Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron Legrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the mentorpodcast.com. Now, if you are a real estate investor and you are looking to get leads, quality leads, and you don't want to have to do any of the work, then if you don't get excited after this podcast is over, you're not excitable, and you probably should make an appointment with your doctor. I have with me Jeff Charlton, who happens to be in the business of making sure you get quality leads. So, Jeff, tell us who you are, what you do, and I'm going to let you take it over from there, and I'll interrupt with questions as we go. Okay.
All right. Well, as Ron said, my name is Jeff Charlton. I own a printing company named Graphic Connections Group, and we're located in St. Louis, Missouri, right in the middle of the United States. And we're a full-service printing company, printing, graphic design, the whole bit, but we specialize in direct mail for real estate especially. And we've been doing this. We've been in business since 1992. In fact, last year we made the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing company in America after my 30th year in business, which is pretty unusual. And I am personally a real estate investor, and that kind of got me into real estate about 15 years. It got me into serving the real estate industry from a marketing standpoint. And over the years, we've gotten better and better at developing lead generation systems, specifically using direct mail. And we've got a whole slew of things we have at our fingertips these days to help real estate investors to find more leads, to help them get more deals, because we all know that's what everybody needs to do, is get more deals, make more money. So our job is to find the leads as best we can to give you an opportunity to close deals.
All right. So you cater to real estate investors, and you got thank you for package. You sent me a whole package of pieces of mail pieces. And I mean, it's a ton of stuff. But of course, your investors can send you their own mail pieces that they want to mail out. And I'm talking letters and postcards and fold out brochures. And if it's printable, you're going to do it.
Correct.
And more importantly, you're going to drop it in the mail, and you're going to monitor the success of that campaign. But before we start any of that, you happen to be in the data business as well. And you can produce pretty much any kind of a list that we want. Is that all correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we recently acquired a data company just literally a month ago, and it's a system called REI Smart Data. And that is an online system where you can go in and, select various filters and things like that and pull your lists. We also have access to various other list sources outside of that for specialized lists. So, real estate investors often, there's all types of investors. They target all different types of prospects, and we can pretty much pull a list for any of the prospects that you're looking for.
And I understand you just acquired a few other companies here lately. You're on this consolidation binge right now.
That's correct. That was one of them. Another one was a company it was previously named REI Vault. We changed the name to REI Complete. And that is also a direct mail company, but they add one more aspect to it. They have what we call a done-for-you follow-up service. That means is when you send out direct mail campaigns, or it doesn't even have to be direct mail. It could be whether you're using pay-per-click marketing or cold calling or cold texting, whatever you're doing. When the people call back, the leads, you got to handle those phone calls. Well, investors often don't realize how much work that is. We recently did since I am a real estate investor, I mail for myself as well. We really recently did a campaign for ourselves. We mailed 10,000 pieces of mail. It was 2,500 pieces of mail over 4 drops over a 3-month period. And we generated 360 gross phone calls coming in. And my team handled those phone calls. We have a phone team that handles the calls. They find out, they talk to the actual prospect, find out if they have a house, what the address of the house is, try to vet the leads basically and find out if it's somebody that's serious about selling their house. And if they do, they mark it in a system we have, a CRM system we have as part of this program, as a qualified lead. And so all you need to do is call the qualified leads. So in my example, we got 10,000 pieces of mail, generated 360 gross responses. Of those, 58 were qualified leads. And we actually closed 12 deals out of that list. So it's pretty profitable.
So what kind of deals were they that you closed?
I'm doing rent to own. I'm not rent to own. long-term hold Section 8 housing. That's what I'm working on right now. So all these were deals we bought, properties, turned into Section 8.
You and I are going to have a conversation. I'm going to have to straighten you out after all of these years. At one time, I had 200 Section 8 tenants. Never again for me.
Yeah.
And you're missing a big part of it. But anyway, this is not about you. What you do. You mailed, I think you just made the point that what your specialty is sequential mailing. And we better explain that. You and I are old Dan Kennedy students. We understand this stuff, but our listeners do not. And for those of you who don't know Dan Kennedy, he and I met Dan in 91. I guess you met him in 92, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. He's made me more money than any other human being alive. He's the marketing guru of the marketing, frankly, of any business. Okay.
Right.
So we might want to start with the biggest, most important aspect of direct mail is the list.
Correct.
Bad list, good mailer, no results. Good list, bad mailer, going to get results. So I want to make the point to all of our listeners that the smartest thing that they can do is to hire you to do what you do best and get the hell out of the way and let you do it, and not try to dictate things to you that they know nothing about, like this piece is better than this piece. That's my guess. I'll tell you what I learned in marketing. If I think it's going to work, it won't. Right. If I think it won't work, it probably will. So I constantly pound on people to let other people do what they do best and let them do it. And you're a great example of that, because literally you can pick the list and already are doing it for clients. Because frankly, as I recall, that's what REI Complete was all about, was it not?
Yeah. I mean, all these things are about picking lists. You're absolutely right. The list is the absolute most important thing. And the reason it's so important is because nobody has enough money to mail a phone book. So you have to narrow it down to a target market, that's in your avatar, whatever that is. Yeah. And then you can afford to hit these people multiple times. And to your second point about multi-touch marketing, that's so important because nobody's really sure what the actual number is, but somewhere between 7 and 12 touches are required. Yeah, most people to respond. Yeah. And, not that you can't get a response the first time you mail somebody, because it happens all the time. But the more times you mail them, the better chance you're going to have of getting them to call you. And in the real estate business specifically, and this is huge, there are tons of people like Ron teaching people to how to go and invest in real estate, how to flip houses. They're all over the place, all over the country. And there's, they have weekend seminars in every city in America just about every week. And people go to those seminars and they sign up and they get all excited and they want to be a real estate investor. And then they call me and they say, let's do a mailing. And they do a mailing and they get good results. And then you never hear from them again. That's, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the people don't do what they need to do to be successful. That's your competition. Those guys, they're one and done and they're gone. If you hit somebody multiple times, you're still around. The chance of somebody calling you is much better.
Well, we learned from Dan a long time ago, if you just want to mail one piece, you might as well save your money. Absolutely. Because all sellers' minds will change with time and circumstances. Right. And it's the same is true with all buyers' minds. So we got to be there when they're ready to make that decision, and we got to be top on their mind. That brings me back to the old restaurant days. I used to put out coupons in my restaurant, and other restaurant owners didn't really hate that. That's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. Bullshit is what I said to them, because every time that coupon, it ain't a matter of trying to get new customers as much as to be top of the mind of the ones that I already have. 2 nights ago, I used a coupon to go to a restaurant I would have no idea of going to if I didn't use a coupon. And I don't need the coupon. Okay. Right. I don't need the discount, but they sent it to me, and that's what prompted me to go. So we got to be there. We got to consistently be there. And I'm not talking about just people in foreclosure. I'm talking about sellers of all kinds, which brings up the next point. And this might be hard for you guys and gals to quantify, but listen to me closely. It makes no difference what situation the people are in that you're mailing to. You really could care less. What you care about is there a deal there? Whether they're a probate, whether they're in foreclosure, whether they're behind on their payments, all these lists this long, it doesn't matter. All I want is motivated sellers that I can get good deals on their houses, either terms or all cash deals, deeply discounted cash deals. So I'm going to say it again. Don't worry about what list to mail to. Let Jeff handle that. Let the guy with 30 years experience decide who is best qualified to mail, who should be mailing to, and then you and him agree on it. Basically, it comes back to we start with a budget, right? Correct. Tell me how much you can spend, and you'll design their campaign around that.
All right, we back into it. It comes down to everybody we talk to is in a different place. Some investors are beginners and don't know anything, and they'd be happy to make one deal every 6 months. Other investors are full-time investors and they're doing 10 deals a month. So that we have to back into it. We say how many deals you want to make, how much money are you willing to spend to make those deals.
Yeah.
And now we can back into it and say, okay, what list and what mailer and what campaign can we design that you have the best chance of meeting those objectives?
Correct. Now, I got to quantify that with Jeff can generate all the quality leads you want, but if you can't handle that call, then you're just destroying that lead and you're wasting your money. So you got to make sure you can handle that closing call, which I will help you with if you'll come let me train you. When you master that, then you can decide to start spending money on your marketing, and then you ramp it up as you go. You told me you just did 12 deals out of 58 leads, and you mailed 10,000 pieces over 4 months.
Correct.
What if, let's say I were doing that, what would it cost me to mail those 10,000 pieces?
Well, that's the all-in investment. And we used our REI Complete service. So I used the lead vetting service. We only called the 58 people. We didn't call the 360,
right? Which
is awesome. So that was all in $16,000 for the service, the mail, and everything. And we generated about $250,000 of profit out of the campaign. So that was profitable like 20 times over.
You spent 16,000 and you got 250,000 back.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to work, Jeff. I'm going to put that in a spreadsheet and have somebody analyze it for me. But
I will say the caveat is we know how to close deals. Okay, it absolutely is important to Ron's point. You got to work the leads. You got to talk to them.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people that we generate tons of leads and they never even pick up the phone to call them.
I know. That's the biggest problem we have to deal with, Jeff, is getting people to pick up that telephone.
Yep.
Now, I teach that. We practice that. I have scripts. I got 14 things you do wrong on the phone. All of this is fixable. But I also teach, if you know you're not going to pick up the phone and you know that has to be done, then you got two choices. Get somebody else to do it or get out of the business.
Right.
Because if you don't talk to the seller, you're not buying houses. It's just that bloody simple. Somebody's got to talk to the seller.
And that's why what I will say this, the point of this, I can't emphasize enough the importance of this lead vetting service, especially if you're a single investor trying to do this on your own, maybe part-time and just starting out. Trying to call 360 people, it might take you 100 hours to do that. Well, you don't have to make that initial call. You only got to call the ones that we've already sort of vetted that say these are the good leads. Call these guys.
So your VAs determine whether they're good leads before we even get them.
Yeah, they have a list of questions they ask to determine. Basically, do they have a house? Are they interested in selling? And would they be interested in some sort of a cash price? That's it. That's really the three criteria. And if they say yes to those three criteria, then they're a qualified lead.
Well, of course, all of them were interested in the cash price. Is there? Let's say I gave you a script. Could your people use my short script?
We're not really set up for that. We have something that's been proven over time that because we're doing this for like.
I hear you.
Yeah,
but I'm looking for terms deal as well as cash deal. Okay, I got a very short script. I mean, in one paragraph to determine it. It goes something like this.
I'm not saying we can't do it, but it would require a custom setup.
Well, I'm giving you something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's the same script our VAs use. Sometimes we pay cash. Sometimes we make your payments until sometime in the future when we get you paid off. Of course, the cash price is going to be much lower than the terms price. So would you like to hear other options other than cash?
Right.
And,
our job is just get the phone to ring. That's what we do. And then try to, if you sign up for the full service, then we help the qualify the leads to some degree. But ultimately, still, you got to pick up that phone and you got to make those calls to close the deals.
That means you got to practice making that call. That means you got to practice doing the things right that you're currently doing wrong. And by the way,
right,
just so you know, I've never had anybody come into my world, and I've had thousands that could handle that call. And I've had a lot of people that thought they could without some training on what has to take place and how you and what not to say and what to say and all the mistakes people make on the phone. I have people come in and do sales for for a living. Oh, ain't no problem for me, but it is if you don't say the right things, because you can easily talk yourself right out of a deal. What comes out of your mouth will determine what goes into your bank account.
Absolutely.
That's not hard to learn. Okay, if you can read, you can master that code. I got it all scripted out. So, Jeff, you got data under control. So you are going to be picking the list that will generate the best quality prospects that we're looking for. But frankly, as I said, I don't even care what their issue is. I just want to know if they want to sell their house.
Yeah, but it's still, you dial it down. I mean, what we do, because you can't mail the phone book, there's certain things that in the real estate investing space have proven to work. For instance, out-of-state absentee owners is a pretty good list, because a guy that owns a property that lives in another state is probably renting it. And if you've ever owned property in another state as a landlord, when you have a problem, it's the pain in the butt goes up exponentially. Yeah. And often those people would love to dump those properties. So that's a hot list.
It always has been.
Yep.
Especially out-of-state owners that where the house is vacant, and you can pull those as well, can't you?
Yeah. Basically, people that for real estate investors, you're looking for people that have problems with their property. A guy that's got a really nice house that's all fixed up is not going to take a cash offer. He's going to sell it with an agent, retail. So we're looking for off-market properties of people. There's all kinds of people that are older going into nursing homes, or if they die, or if it's just the property's so old, it's 30, it's a 50-year-old house and they haven't fixed it up in 30 years. And the real estate agent tells them it's going to cost you $100,000 to fix it up, to sell it. You don't want to screw with that. So you'll take a lower price just to walk away. That's the kind of properties. I mean, everybody's seen these flipping shows on TV, and that's the kind of properties you're looking for. Well, we pull lists that have a high chance of identifying those type of properties.
Okay. Let's say an investor comes in and they got a fairly limited budget to work with. What would be the minimum budget that you'd want to take on a new client for?
Well, to get one deal, they say, and again, depends how good you are, but in general, it's somewhere between 25 and 45 leads to close a deal for most people. And the newer you are, usually the more leads it takes, because you're not real good at making the phone calls. So if you back into it, and it depends on where you are, because response rates vary widely depending on what part of the country you're in, what city you're in. They vary anywhere from 0.25% to 5%, depending on the city. The more competitive the city, like Los Angeles, Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, those cities are very competitive, lower response rates. So it takes more mailers, which means more money to get enough leads to close the deal. But, I would say most people, if they spend about $2,500 a month in mail, they can usually get a deal on. Okay. If you're really not good, in the bigger areas, it might be $5,000. But we find most of our investors are making at least $10,000 a deal, upwards of $50,000. So there's usually plenty of profit in most deals to cover the marketing costs.
I tell my students they should be making a minimum of $15,000 deals on a wholesale deal right now.
Agreed.
And frankly, that's the bottom of the barrel.
And that's true in most areas. Like I will say in St. Louis. So St. Louis is tough to make any money in wholesale. The average wholesale deal there is about $8,000. But if you fix and flip, you can do all right.
All right.
Or rent at long-term rentals, And
of course, along the way, we're going to find a bunch of terms deals by simply using the script and letting them decide if they want to hear about terms or not. We do terms deals everywhere we go. Every boot camp we do live deals, and we do terms deals in those. So they are my favorite by far, which I don't want to get into right now. But the real wealth is in the properties you do not sell, not the properties you do sell.
I totally agree with that.
All right. So you got this other program, forgot the name of it, that you will send them hot leads to them every day for a subscription fee.
Yeah, no, this is brand. Yeah, it's called REI Leads Daily. And I just told, this is brand new. So this is literally hot off the press. In fact, it's so new, we haven't even rolled it out yet. We're still in beta testing. But what it's going to amount to is on a daily basis, you'll get an email that's got FSBO leads for sale by owner, for rent by owner, pre-foreclosure, and then we're working on vacant. Vacant is not going to be about a month out for vacant, but we'll eventually have vacant. And then as time goes on, we're going to add more and more different hot leads to that list, but these are literally hot off the press. And we scrape literally the entire United States, the MLS, and we pull anything that's brand new vacant, brand new FSBO, brand new FURBO, and you get an email with that list every day. And so can't get any hotter than that. If you're a guy that wants to pick up the phone and, oh, by the way, you not only get when I say you get the lead, you get the name, address, and skip traced phone number. So, and for those of you not familiar with skip tracing, what that means is in the real estate business, it's really easy to get a name and address of a house, but to find out the phone number is not so easy. But there are services out there that will literally, like Private Detective, go out to the world of the internet and find the phone numbers associated with people's names and addresses, and we give you that phone number. And then you got something you can call people too. So, if you want to get literally the hottest leads, it can't get any hotter than that.
And do these leads come from outside the MLS as well as inside?
They come from everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. It's mostly outside the MLS, by the way. Yeah. We're just using the MLS to, like a FSBO. It's an algorithm that determines for sale by owner, something drops off. Maybe it was listed, it dropped off, or there's various different ways they find these type of leads. Yeah, it's stuff that's hot, And that's, by the way, for a real estate agent too, this is something you'd be interested in, because agents like to list houses. And if you want agents love to go after FSBOs.
Yeah. Huh. So, and this costs what?
It's $149 a month. And there's no guarantee in the number of leads. It's whatever hot ones come up in your area. And the first month you get the last 30 days total list right away, right out of the box. And then after that, it's a daily email. And we start building a list every month, and every day you'll get an email if there's a new lead that day, and then we add to that list. And at the end of the month, just a spreadsheet is all it is, all the information by email. So it just comes to your email, and you download the list straight out of your email. Nothing to log into or anything. It's real simple.
Pretty cool. You also got within your system the ability to send a postcard out with a picture of the house you're trying to buy.
That's correct. We call that AccuPix mailers. So everybody knows about Google Street View. You can look up your house on Google and see a picture of your house. Well, we wrote a program to go to that Google image. We take your mailing list, and we can then match up every name on that mailing list with the Google image. We download the image with Google, and then we can print it on any mailing document, be it a postcard or a letter or whatever you want to mail.
You don't happen to have a sample of that right there close by, do you?
You know what? Yes, I do.
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
We're going to be doing that. Yeah.
See that?
Yeah, I can see that. Very, very
and by the way, you see a phone on here? That's another service we have, okay, that's unique. By the way, on that house thing, I am the guy that invented this about 5 years ago. We're the first one ever in the United States to do this. Now, since then, all of our competition have copied us, but we came up with this idea a while back. Well, this texting thing is something nobody else has. What this is we can assign a unique text code that says, I want to buy your house, text, this code to that code. It's a unique code assigned to every record on your list. And when that person gets a postcard, they can either call the number you list, or they can text you. When they text you with that, using that special code, we know who that was because it's tied to the database. You then instantly get an email message saying, this guy just texted you. And the guy that texted instantly gets a message back to him saying, hey, we got your message. Well, whatever you want, you can customize that message, whatever it's going to be. And it's all instantaneous. So there are people that, everybody's seen, hey, text, buy my house to this number, but that's not tied to the specific person. It's just a generic text. So when that person calls in, you don't know who they are. Our system, you know who it is. So when you call them back, you can say, you not only know who they are, you know what the property is. So if you wanted to go look at that property before you even call them back, you could do that. So that is nobody has that other than us in the United States.
And you can put that on several different pieces of mail.
Yeah, we can add a text code to any mailer we do.
Okay. And I know you agree with me when we say that we need to get back to them immediately, because we can't let this lead sit around for days. They don't even know who we are, don't even remember it. But if the quicker we get back to them, the more deals we're going to get. So you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, one point I didn't make about direct mail, but I'm going to say it now. I always say if you're not using direct mail as part of your comprehensive marketing strategy, you are leaving money on the table. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people in the real estate business use, pay-per-click marketing, cold calling, cold texting, whatever. I'm not saying those are bad. Those work. But there is a certain element of the population, especially older people, that you're never going to get cold calling them. They'll never answer the phone. Or how many people, I get inundated, because I have rental properties, I get inundated on my phone with cold calls and cold text. I never, ever answer those because it's a nuisance. It pisses me off, but everybody goes to their mailbox.
Yeah. We have a floor of virtual assistants that make phone calls for our students, get the property information sheet filled out. So I'll give you the statistics the best I can remember them on that. They make 60, 70,000 calls a month. They can't, if we're calling on an ad online for a house for sale, we can't get more than 45% of them to pick up the phone after 3 tries.
Right.
Now, when we get them on the phone, only about half of those turns into a property information sheet because it's either listed or sold. So what we're doing with you is getting sellers to call us instead of us chasing them.
That's correct.
Which is what I call a quality lead, not a quantity lead.
Absolutely. And it's proven over time, direct mail leads tend to get better and more profitable deals than any of the other marketing methods on the market. And there's one other point about direct mail that people never think about, but it's huge. Direct mail has staying power. When I send you this postcard, even if you're not ready to buy today, but if it gets your attention, you might save it. You might put it on your fridge or put it on your desk. And 6 months later, you find this, especially if you're mailing somebody multiple times and they got multiple postcards, there's a chance they might call you 6 months to a year from now. We have customers tell us all the time, they'll get deals 2 and 3 years after they drop the mail piece from a mailer that was 3 years old. That never happens in the digital or cold calling world ever because it just doesn't.
About direct mail, it lays on the desk until you get ready to read it, whereas your email is going to get deleted immediately. So, and it's going to get delivered to all the houses. Your email, there's no way you're going to get 100% deliverability.
Yeah, and your point, you made a point earlier. You asked me a question: do I agree with calling somebody back? Yes, absolutely. In fact, Ron just gave me a referral this morning to somebody he knows. The guy happened to call me 5 minutes before this call. I had 5 minutes. I called the guy back immediately, like a minute after he called, just to tell him I got your message. I'm interested. I'll call you back later and we'll talk about the details. When you respond to somebody that quickly, they take your call. So they're not going to ignore it because they just called you. So you have a much better chance of actually getting through to the person when you respond in a timely fashion.
Absolutely. And people, frankly, you already have their attention and their respect when you get back to them immediately.
Right.
Because not very many people do that in this society today. Sure. Yeah. All right. Tell us how to get a hold of you to learn all the crap you can do for us, man.
Well, you guys have got not a lead. You've got a link that's going to be tied to this podcast. It's going to be the mentorpodcast.com/mail. And I'm assuming that's going to be at the bottom of somewhere on this podcast.
thementorpodcast.com/mail. And that will direct you right to his sites. And because he's got several of them, because he's got several different components. And we frankly haven't began to cover it all here today.
Right. And one thing I want to say, so what we're going to do is we're going to offer, we have one thing we have that's different than other people too, is we have live coaches that will talk to you because we have so many things to offer and everybody has different goals and objectives. We need to talk to you about what all that stuff is to figure out what is the best plan for you. So I have 7 full-time coaches. That's all they do is they're on the phone with people all day long, helping to plan mailing campaigns. And we offer that free. So the first step is a free coaching call, we call it. And there'll be a button you can press when you go to the website that we're directing you to set up a free coaching call. No obligation. We're not hard closers. We're just going to help you. We're going to find out what you need and see if there's a win, if there's a match. If there's a match, great. If there's not, that's okay too. And that's what we do. That's how we work. And then we set it up and it's kind of hands off. We'll talk to you. We'll figure out what you want. Then we'll do our job. We'll get the list. We'll get the mail out. We'll do all that. And if you want to sign up for the full complete program where we're doing the follow-up, we do that too. But all you have to do is then focus on working your leads and closing deals, run your business. Let us do what we do best, which is get the marketing out.
2 most important things you have to conquer if you're going to succeed is generating quality leads and mastering that phone. You get past that, and this rest of this is easy.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah, we call it set it and forget it. That's what we're all about. Is we set up a campaign, and then you don't think about it till we decide to, look at the next campaign.
My favorite kind of campaign. Yep. Done for you, set it and forget it.
Yep.
Let other people do what they do best. All right. Well, Jeff, I'm sure you're going to be hearing from our listeners, and in fact, I'm going to be interviewing you again here at our upcoming boot camp, maybe all of them going forward. So we were definitely going to be using you heavily. And
appreciate
guys, well, there's a lot of things you can do out there to generate leads. I don't know of any that even comes close to what Jeff is doing, or any of them that have the experience of Jeff. And in fact, this guy's acquiring whatever hole he has in his company. He's going out and acquiring a company to fill that hole. Very smart thing. So I hope you use this. I hope you don't just watch this and forget about it. Because if you're going to buy houses, you're going to have to generate leads. And for those of you who might be thinking, well, golly, I didn't know I had to spend money to do deals. Well, you don't have to spend much. Compare this to other businesses.
Right.
Okay, I've been in the restaurant business. What a lovely business that was. Last one I had to gross, I had $100,000 worth of expenses going out. So if I didn't gross $100,000, I was losing money every single month. And frankly, wouldn't make as much money as I'd make wholesaling one house after a month's worth of work. I use this comparison all the time because it's amazing. People think the way to make money in this country is to go buy a business, work your ass off, and decide which 12 hours you want to work every day, and to make a small amount of money when you're done. Real estate is very unique, very, very small overhead, very small expenditure on actually getting leads compared to the 20, 30, 40, 50 plus $1,000 transactions. I'm wholesaling a deal right now. We'll make probably 55, 60 grand on for a little piece of crap house, man. I mean, there's no business like this. None.
And you don't have franchise fees. I mean, think how many people go out and spend $300,000 to buy some little restaurant franchise or some little, strip mall type of little thing. They put their whole life savings into it. And most of those, high percentage fail. Here, you spend, put $5,000 a month towards marketing. That's really all you got to do, and learn how to close the deals. It's that simple.
That's it. One deal will cover several months worth of marketing expenses.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have anything on my menu in my restaurant, Jeff, that I could get $25,000 out of.
No.
Not one item. It's always a pleasure. Let's give them that link one more time. thementorpodcast.com/mail. All right. And you'll get to him. By the way, make sure you sign up, because then you'll get a reminder every Wednesday of the podcast. And if you are on here and you're not familiar with what I do, go to ronlegrand.com/terms and watch a little over an hour presentation on the pretty house side of the business, which I favor, which is where the real wealth is in the business, and see what it's all about. So again, thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.
I appreciate the opportunity.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.